Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank
Good.
you.
Good. So, we know each other. We kind of more recently met, and I don't think we've ever met in person, right?
No.
Yeah. So, I saw a film that you were in, which a friend of mine, David Fenster, did, and then I heard you were an intuitive. So I reached out to you, and you did a reading for me, which was fantastic. And then we had you were very nice enough and generous enough with your time to just go back and forth with me. So I appreciate you even taking more time with me to do this. But just knowing a little bit of what I know about your work and just from meeting you, I thought you'd be a great guest. I know that you have a drawing, that you did some art at some point, but you're now a theater director. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically you've been working as an intuitive for how long?
I started truly about 20 years ago, but at full time professionally about 5 years.
Okay. And and then the theater directing is kind of, is that part of your part of the process, or is that something very different for you?
Well, they do, have confluence. So yes, my theater work uses a lot of psychic journeying, a lot of looking for the essence of the actor, a lot of intuition in the practice, but then ultimately it does have its, typical theatrical rigors. But yeah, its essence is kind of search for self in the text
Uh-huh.
that I typically write. So, yeah.
So yeah, so it's basically, yeah, so it's a director you're trying to, but I guess I wonder if the intuitive process after a while seems like it's two layers, because you're producing a play, but you're also dealing with people who you may be picking up things from, which I guess is something that a director does anyway. Um,
Hmm.
but I guess you're trying to figure out how to pick up what you're getting from them and fit it into a script, or
Yeah, I've been working with the
okay,
same group, God Awful National Theater, for about 10 years, this particular
okay,
group. And so I do know many of the actors fairly well. And a lot of our texts evolve from the essence of what either the actor is struggling with, wants to work on, and
ah.
often brings into play a part of self that the actor doesn't really want to showcase all the time. So,
I think we were talking a little bit about that. I was just like, because I know directors have to kind of control things, but you also don't want you want to give the actor freedom not to control things. It just seems like a lot.
it is a lot. It is a lot. That word control is exactly right, because I think as artists, whether we're visual artists or theater artists or any other kind of artist, the need for control, periodically crops up, if not dominates. And
Yeah.
so whenever we're doing something, especially if you're going to be looked at on stage, the need to get it right, to be acceptable, presentable, to be liked is very onerous. It's very heavy
Yeah.
for the actor. It's very difficult to jettison that. And as a
Mm.
visual artist, I think often, when you're making something, the first impulse, whether it's conscious or not, is this going to be any good?
Yeah.
Before, pen hits paper or brush hits canvas, the fear that I will make something derivative that's not real, that's not me, that's imitative, it's very present and often stops people before we begin, actually.
I wonder too if that's something we also learn to do from going to art school, that it may not always have been as strong, the critical or the analytical part of that process, that questioning that you start to internalize. Yeah. But let's go ahead and get to drawing at the same time as talking, which is always, a fun thing to do. Um, and continue it, because yeah, because I mean, what you're talking about, I struggle with in my studio all the time. There's a lot of demons in this
Hmm.
place, and I'm just running around with a broom trying to get them out. But I mean, at the same time, you hope that they help you make some good work. All right, so I'm gonna just transfer this over to, and then I just aim it back at the
We
page.
look at
So
our
those
page.
of
Yeah.
you, yeah, so those of you who would like to draw with us, please go ahead and find yourself something to draw with, or however you want to join us. You will not be seeing our beautiful faces anymore, but we will be um, continuing to talk. So one thing like that I try to do in the studio, and I wonder if this is something that happens with you with working with actors, is I try to trick myself a lot. I try to do things that will get me to not be self-conscious, or that are so difficult I come up with solutions I may not have thought of before. Oh, I think
Yeah.
I'm
Well, you
okay.
know, can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm not looking at my paper. I'm drawing with my eyes shut, and I'm going to make a commitment not to look at my paper. And the reason
Okay,
I'm
I will
doing
join.
this is that, okay,
I'm joining
the
you, by
reason
the
I'm
way.
doing this is because fantastic. So there's an essence of self that I'm after at the moment. I don't know what it is. I have no preconception of what it is. Talking to you is great because I can't really control anything, and I can't even control what color I'm picking up or what I'm doing, or even if I'm using it, feels like I'm not using the right side of the pen. Yeah, I can't really control that. So I'm looking for something right now in my heart that wants to be expressed. I don't know what it is. And I think one of the things that we encounter as visual artists, as writers, as performers, is that we have words, language. And in language, whether you're talking about literal spoken language that we use ordinarily, or, you know, memes where we put a lot of our psychological baggage into, you know, we
Yeah.
kind of deposit in the meme bag. Um, we use language to try to describe what's going on, and for me, at least in the beginning, and I am a writer, so but at least in the beginning, it either takes copious language, an amazing amount of language to describe that, or absolutely no language, so that when I am out of describing, I'm happy, sad, mad, or glad, I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I go to another realm where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be shown what I am in the moment with my mini selves and really connect with it, at least to the last moment when I get to look at it, and then embellish because I will understand from my mark making what's going on with me and who I am in the moment. But we have persona, we have personalities, not one. I'm not a single person.
Mm-hmm.
That's a myth. It's a convenient myth. It's an industrial myth. And it really doesn't allow for a tremendous amount of freedom. So when I'm drawing, I don't know, as I say, what I'm doing. I don't care. I'm feeling it bodily. And that I do have images in my mind, however. I'm not trying to describe them. They're just there, if that makes sense to
Right.
you.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
so,
And for me, it's
I,
interesting too.
yeah.
As I do this, I feel like certain physical motions that my body is making while I'm drawing is also activating different feelings that I'm having,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. And those feelings do feel like they're separate from each other. And I
Oh,
don't know if that's just the movement of the body or, yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
well, can you tell me what feeling you're having at the moment?
What feeling? Oh.
How would you
Now
talk
we got
about
to
it,
be careful.
if at all?
We can't make this into a reading. I don't want to, I don't want to put you to work. So
That's
let's
good.
see here. The feeling is definitely something childlike, but at the same time, uh, more in control and
Mm-hmm.
more workmanlike about whatever it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you say workman, who's a workman? Who's the workman? What part of you
It's
is the
the
workman?
probably the one that feels comfortable actually holding a pen and making marks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is
But
there a
yeah.
value attached to that?
Yeah, I imagine
Is,
there's a certain
is there
amount
any?
of certain amount of accomplishment I'm feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I'm making
Mm-hmm.
those kind of marks. But there are other kinds of marks, like if I were to change my hand to a left hand
Mm-hmm.
that I don't feel as comfortable with, I have a feeling I would not be feeling the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
why don't you try
Definitely
that?
not the sense of, yeah,
Try
I'm
it.
doing
Let's
it.
try it.
And yeah, are we going to try it together here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not the dexterity at all. I feel like my cat is scratching at a pile of papers at this point.
Okay. Okay. When cats scratch, is it amusing? Is it okay? Are they annoying? What are cats
it's
scratching
an,
like to you?
it's annoying. It's really
It's annoying. Okay. Can I ask you? Are you annoying yourself right now?
probably. Oh my! You get annoyed with yourself? I would hope. I would hope.
Oh yes. I mean the thing is, yes, of course, I'm annoyed with myself all the time. I'm an extreme curmudgeon. I'm like the king of annoyance. Everything annoying. So I feel you. The feeling of being out of control, though. Okay. How is that on a scale of 1 to 10? Being out of control, is that yay, out of control, woohoo, or zero, like no, must gain control, must gain control? Which is it more
No,
like?
no, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It's actually very nice.
Good,
Yeah, yeah, completely.
good,
It's good. Yeah. It's kind of like when you're in art school and you're learning to do
yeah.
like a blind contour, you know, where you can't look at your paper and you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And at first it's frustrating, but then after a while,
Mm-hmm.
another thing is taking over. And that other thing that's taking over is the lovely surprise that you might have when you see it at the end. So I am anticipatory in that way to see what guest has arrived.
Okay, that's really cool. I mean, I think for me, like, it's so bodily, you know,
Yeah,
making art, drawing,
yeah,
um, and obviously, you mentioned art school. Many of us are, you know, I would say graduates of art school. We've gone through art school. We've gone through that
right.
period of being sort of not everybody. It's not everybody's experience, but like remade, refashioned, getting a sense of what's expected in the professional world, um, and then kind of lost,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
then trying to find oneself again. I think it's a fairly common experience.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but so much of art school kind of requires us to be in our brains and our heads.
yeah.
I don't think that's as much the case as it was, at least in my generation, where being in the head is where it's at. You know, what was it
Well,
like
I
for
think
you?
yeah, I would say that when I went to art school, it was encouraged to be a thinking artist. I had and a
Mm-hmm.
professor say to me, you don't want to just like your paintings are like, she said, you don't want just to date beautiful people. You want to date smart, beautiful people. And so your artwork should be the same. Something like that. It's interesting. Um, you know, I instructors have, they bring their own thing to the studio. And so at the time, because I was, I'm pretty gullible at the time, and maybe now, but that I was thinking that they knew better what better for me what than I knew myself. And in some ways, when you're a student, that's what
Mm,
you allow yourself to be uh, a a willing subject to someone else's analysis and as well as someone else's criticism about your work. And
mm-hmm.
so for me, the later thing has been the internalizing that criticism now and having it in my studio, but at the same time, being able to um, being able to remember the joy of just making the work, you know, and that might be accidents.
Yeah.
That might be things that I
Yeah.
didn't plan on
Yeah.
happening.
I mean, well, yeah. That's so beautiful. I mean, kind of hunting, can't really find any instrument right now as I'm kind of hunting around for one. One of the things that can be helpful sometimes when you're doing this self-celebration is to find, and I really can't find anything here. Oh, I think it's in my hand. Um, is to find a place where you can do a little self-portrait without looking at your paper. So I'm going to turn my paper
Yeah.
over, and I'm going to find
Uh-huh.
another piece of paper. I'll come back to where I was.
Okay. Oh, I wonder, I don't hear you anymore. I wonder if you went out. Hmm. Asher, I may have lost you. Okay, folks. Well, let's see if I can get Asher again. Oh, yeah, we lost the connection here. Well, one of the things that, while I try to get Asher, one of the things that we were talking about that was interesting was how much we invest our identity in being able to control things. And, and it's also like a story that we can tell ourselves about ourselves in terms of the drawings we make. And the conversation came up because I was saying that I tended to repeat the way that I doodled was kind of I repeated the same kind of marks over and over again, and that was almost like a way to assert my identity. Um, okay, I think we lost him. Let's see if we can find him. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to continue and maybe we'll get Asher back. He has to. Hmm. Da, 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 da. In the meantime, I'll read over some of your questions. I asked, what's a mystery that you haven't solved? And this is what some of you said. How I escaped my family alive, my head, someone said, and someone said, they haven't solved it yet. Hi, Cliff. So let's go ahead and continue on. I think that was for me, very interesting because it is very much about how I have to kind of let go of a certain amount of control in order to make things that feel authentic. And at the same time, I think there's also pressures, like right now. This is something that very different than this. And yet what's going on here has an enormous amount of energy. So for me, I'm always trying to figure out how the hell do I get a little bit of both? And I think Instagram is an interesting thing because in some ways it, oh, internet fail. Okay, I'm going to try to get you back in here. Um, I think a lot of times because of Instagram, this idea of like um, a photo-based platform for people are really puts this pressure to have constant results, constant resolved, not process-oriented ways of showing your work, you know? Because in some ways it's like a store. And I don't know if that is always maybe the best thing to have in your studio at the same time as working. But, okay. Oh, here we go. Maybe this will do it. So we're still trying to get Asher in. And I will just keep talking as we go. I hope folks had a good week. Um, having a good week varies for me. Hey,
I'm back.
you're back. You want to keep trying to do? You want to keep drawing, or shall we just talk a little bit?
I'm back. Well, we could talk a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll go back to my other drawing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I felt like
yeah,
that.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
that's all.
I just thought
I have to find my other. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought that was really interesting because I was saying how much when you're not looking at your paper like that, the energy is incredible for me as an artist, even though it's not necessarily controlled in any sort of way. Here's something where I am looking at my paper, it's just not the same kind of energy. So there's a part of me that's like, I love work that's like that, and yet
Well, I think you
have
bring
to
up
get
the great.
yourself to a point. Uh-huh. Oh,
You
go ahead.
do. I mean, sorry, I'm schwitzing. It's so hot. You can't believe it here.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you do. But the feeling, it's bodily. You know, when you're
Yeah.
dancing, when you're moving, when you're enjoying someone, when you're laughing with someone, you hopefully
Right.
get to a point where you're not thinking, was that an interesting joke? I should have changed the end a little bit. Or like, I love this move that I do. Hopefully you get to a point where you're just in it, you're alive.
Right.
And I think the energy that we bring to any kind of artwork, when we permit the actual essence to present, that's what it's all about.
Right.
Because, and this is the last thing I think I'll say, is that our essences are not always known to us. We don't know them through our biography, know them through the psychological narrative. Oh, I think I lost you again.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that we don't know them through the psychological narrative. We have that. That's knowledge. You know, this happened to me, and so I'm like that. That can be very true. Is that important? It can be to a certain point, but when you're making work, it can be a barrier, can be a limit to what is possible for you to accomplish.
Right.
Because once you're in the essence of who you are, the next thing that happens is this thing of like, how dare I be this amazing, giant? Like, I'm not trying to be an egoist or a narcissist, but the fact is, you actually are this amazing giant.
Mm-hmm.
That is a kind of astounding revelation. Like, you actually are. It's everything else around you, including upbringing. Mm-hmm.
Well, I also think, I mean, because when you were speaking, I was also thinking, that that there's an investment in terms of us having that. I think our economy wants us very much to have very stable identities so that we can be predictable. And when you become a giant, or when you become someone who is living outside of one's own biography, like you said, it's harder to know which ways we're going to move, which ways we're going to consume. And we don't know. And so why would anyone be able to trace our ability to to predict what we'll be consuming. So I wonder if identity and identity is also very much connected to capitalism. You know, in terms of how we think of our
I think,
worth.
you know, in large part. Yeah, I definitely think when we start to put it into tiny boxes, you know, I mean, we've heard this, you know, ad infinitum since we started creating labels for ourselves, and when they stopped working. And sometimes, you know, obviously some labels are necessary politically, other labels are too confining. And I think, you know, speaking from a trans perspective, I don't even personally love the term transgender because I think it's like transgenders for me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Oh. Oh, I think we're going in and out again. I seem to be losing you. So I feel bad moving on if we've lost you. Oh, okay. Well, folks, I really recommend that you, we're going to finish it up. And thanks, Asher. I really appreciate the amazing perspective you bring, as well as your talent for helping people really think about identity in a much more expansive way. And I recommend all of you to look Asher's at his website as well as his Instagram. We didn't get a chance to talk about the theater. There's so much we can talk about, but please go ahead and look them up. And I would also like to thank you all for coming. Like I said, just 20 minutes of just doodling, and every night, every Friday night I do this, and every time it's different. Next Friday will be the start of a new month with a whole roster of new people. And also next Friday will be the first Friday of the month, which means that for free, I will be doing a 1-hour Zoom class that follows this Doodle With Me conversation. So all you have to do is just register for it, register for it. And I would recommend, yeah, hopping on. I think there's 3 or 4 more seats in that session. And then there'll be sessions every first Friday of the month following. So if you can't fit into next Friday, then please do the following month's Friday. I'd love to see people. And oh my gosh, it's so hot for Asher that your phone boiled. Oh. Okay, well, thank you again, Asher. Incredible, and always, my conversations with you are always great, fantastic, and humbling in a certain sort of way for me, so I appreciate that. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a great weekend, and continue to surprise yourself and do things you wouldn't necessarily do. And I hope tonight was one of those nights for you, and you continue to do it. And thank you, Asher, for making that happen. And please reach out to Asher at some point through Instagram to thank him personally. That would be nice. If you all want to send me any of the drawings you've done, you can message me those drawings. I'd love to take a look at them. I just love to see and connect with you in some sort of way. And have a great night. And I'll see you hopefully either next Friday or whenever time allows. Okay, have a good night.